Good evening, folks, and welcome to this special explainer on the India versus Zimbabwe ODI rivalry. Before I get to this major topic, let me take a moment and wish all our Sports Today family members and 1.4 billion Indians a very happy 75th Independence Day. It is truly a momentous occasion, and one hopes that as the years go by, we grow from strength to strength and achieve success in all the fields. India versus Zimbabwe, folks, is a very complicated rivalry, one can say. It's not given its due importance. Many key players often miss this series. India, on the other hand, they always want to test their B team, their C team. They want to explore the depth that is there in the side. Zimbabwe provides the ideal platform to see whether they can go ahead on the international arena. However, if you have to look at the history of India versus Zimbabwe, right from the 1980s till about the 21st century, it was a pretty even rivalry, folks. The tables tilted in the 21st century when, because of the political unrest in Zimbabwe, cricket collapsed, and since then, nothing's been the same ever since. In this video, I'm just going to take you down memory lane of India versus Zimbabwe ODI series, some key moments, some brilliant, unforgettable moments, and some numbers. So let us begin with this first interesting bit of anecdote. India versus Zimbabwe history. They started competing for the first time in 1983. This date is very, very important. 1983, India versus Zimbabwe. Tunbridge Wells. Who can forget? They were 17 for 5 India. And what happened after that? Kapil Dev's magnificent 175 ensured that India at least reached a great total. Remember, Zimbabwe had started their campaign on a high by beating Australia, and they had India on the ropes. But Kapil Dev's 175, the match, the greatest knock that could never be telecast, it happened, and it happened against Zimbabwe. India are touring for 3 ODIs in 2022, and it's the first time they'll be touring after 2016 when they played the T20I series there. 6 years later, India are touring Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe have not had that much of an easy luck against India. When was the last time Zimbabwe toured India for a series? You have to go way back, 2002. 20 years, and Zimbabwe have never toured India. They were about to tour India in 2020, but because of the coronavirus situation, they just could not tour. 3-match series was on the cards, but coronavirus and a lot of other factors ensured that Zimbabwe never made the trip to India. So, 20 years on, Zimbabwe are still awaiting a tour to India, whereas India are going after 6 years. A basic look at the India versus Zimbabwe ODI numbers, and it is heavily favored towards India. 51-10 in 63 encounters. That is dominance, folks. India have had their greatest moments against Zimbabwe, but they've also slipped up on quite a few occasions as well. The dominance is exemplified by the fact that the last 12 ODIs that India have played against Zimbabwe, they have won by a commanding margin. And on top of that, they have hardly looked troubled. And 1983 onwards till 2022, 39 years and counting, India have lost only 1 bilateral series to Zimbabwe. That underlines the dominance that they have shown in this near 4-decade rivalry. Zimbabwe, on the other hand, they have had a very horrible experience against India. Till, as I had said, the 21st century, till the end of the 20th century, their record was pretty close. They did give some good moments, they did trouble India. But after that, ever since 2000 till 2022, only 5 wins, folks, for Zimbabwe in this period from 2000 to 2022. The last win for Zimbabwe against India came in 2010, and it was not a bilateral series, it was a tri-series. And that also included Sri Lanka. Remember, folks, these are the ODI numbers I'm focusing on. This is not a T20I number, this is not a test number, only ODIs. The last win came in Harare in 2010. And you can really imagine now how Zimbabwe must be wondering when can they get their next win from. But the numbers that I have shown in the previous 2 slides hides a certain interesting aspect of Zimbabwe versus India. These 2 nations have played out 2 ties in ODIs. which is the joint most with the West Indies and England. Remember, West Indies and India have played out 2 ties. India and England have played out 2 ties. But interestingly, India's first ever ODI tie was against Zimbabwe. If you have to look at it, 1992 was West Indies in Perth. India versus Zimbabwe, the first tie happened in 1993 in Indore during the Nehru Cup. It's a very interesting story, folks. Heat Streak was on strike. Manoj Prabhakar was bowling the final over. He had already hit 91 in the while batting. He had to defend 8 runs. 2 runs were needed. A leg bye was taken. In the process of a second run, he was run out, and that is why the match ended in a tie. The last ODI loss I have mentioned was 2010, and the last series loss was 1997. That also, the last ODI series loss was not even a 3-match series. It was a 2-match series. Zimbabwe won the first game, but the second game was cancelled because of a wet outfield. And talking about the ties, in 1997, during the India-South Africa-Zimbabwe tri-series, there was a game between India versus Zimbabwe in Paarl, Boland Park, Paarl. At that time, there's an interesting headline that you can see on social media. If you missed this match, your childhood was awesome. Everybody will remember that match. Robin Singh, when they were chasing 236 against Zimbabwe, they were on the ropes, India, and were on the cusp of losing the match. But Robin Singh played one of the best innings, and he got India close to Zimbabwe. Edo Brandes, Zimbabwe's premier bowler at that time, took 5 wickets. But with 2 runs needed, Robin Singh and Venkatesh Prasad were on strike. Robin Singh swung at a delivery down the leg side. It was signalled a wide, but Venkatesh Prasad hastily went for the run. Robin Singh was stranded, the run out happened, and in dramatic circumstances, the game at Paarl was tied. So 2 ties between India and Zimbabwe. One hopes when we can get that competitive edge back. Most ODI runs versus Zimbabwe, it's a very easy thing, folks. Sachin Tendulkar and Sourav Ganguly, these two had dominated Zimbabwe unlike anybody before them. They are the leading run getters. Ganguly not far with 1367, Tendulkar has 1377 in ODIs. When it comes to ODI wickets versus Zimbabwe, Ajit Agarkar, the only guy to cross 40 plus wickets against Zimbabwe. He really did bowl, and he had his best moments against them. He'd streak with 39 wickets. We really miss that Zimbabwean pacer who was legendary in his own ways. Now I will focus on some of the key battles and the top moments that we have had in India versus Zimbabwe ODI contests. The first one, the Marillier scoop. Dil scoop? Nah. Any other lap sweep, paddle sweep, McCullum's mech scoop? No. Everything was taken secondary because the pioneer of the scoop shot was Douglas Marillier. And he exhibited it in that ODI against India in Faridabad in 2000. Zimbabwe went down and out, but Marillier, unfurling scoops, paddle shots and drives, got Zimbabwe over in a thriller. His assault on Zahir Khan, who had taken 4 wickets and had figures of 8 overs for 19, just was sublime. Marillier unfurled the scoop. Zahir was just flummoxed what to do. Fine leg, third man, you name it. Marillier had the shot there. Douglas Marillier's knock forever changed the way how limited overs cricket can be played. And credit to the man that he gave Zimbabwe one of their best wins in India. Tendulkar's Olonga revenge. You all know what happened, folks. In Sharjah, I perfectly remember. Zimbabwe versus India in the league stage. Henry Olonga had gotten Sachin Tendulkar out with a bouncer. It was a pacey ball and it hustled Tendulkar. Tendulkar just fended it and the catch was taken. Tendulkar was out cheaply. But the master in that 1998-99 period was in a different zenith altogether. In the final against Zimbabwe, India had restricted them to 196. Tendulkar and Ganguly unleashed an onslaught. Tendulkar taking on Henry Olonga and dismantling his bowling all across Sharjah. It was a magnificent experience and it was a thrilling experience that showed Tendulkar was indeed in God mode during 1998-1999. Remember, Sharjah was the venue where Sachin Tendulkar showed that he is the gold standard. Desert Storm 143, 134 versus Australia at the same venue in the final. Now against Zimbabwe, he was just in a different league of his own. But in that same year, 1999, the World Cup loss, Leicester. Sachin Tendulkar was not there because he had to return back to India, unfortunately for the death of his father. India were taking on Zimbabwe in Leicester, and in a cruel twist of fate, extras were the main reason why India took so long to bowl, and overs were deducted. India seemed to be on course, but Henry Olonga yet again dismantled India, and the tail just could not cope up with the pressure. India fell short by 3 runs. That 99 World Cup loss to Zimbabwe really derailed India, because in the Super 6 stage, every game was a must-win. When they lost to Australia, their campaign was over. So India versus Zimbabwe, these 3 top moments make my list. There are several others, like I said, the Pal tied match, the Indore tied match, plus Andy Flower's brilliance. Andy Flower was one of the best. Sachin Tendulkar's 104 in Benoni in a must-win game against Zimbabwe in 1996-97 during the tri-series. So many epic moments are there, but we had to shortlist it down to 3. So this is my pick: Marlier scoop, Tendulkar's Olonga revenge, and 1999 World Cup loss. So Zimbabwe have hurt India in the 90s, but now in this last 2 decades, India have simply been dominant. Especially after 2010, in ODIs, India have been on a different level altogether. 5-0, 3-0, and now with this series being part of the ODI World League cycle, it remains to be seen what India and Zimbabwe come up with. Because remember, Zimbabwe have won a series against a top-tier nation for the first time since 2017. They have beaten Bangladesh 2-1 in both ODIs and T20Is. Innocent Kaya, in his own innocent way, has made a bold prediction saying that Zimbabwe could win the series 2-1, because India don't have Rishabh Pant, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah. They have got all the other players like KL Rahul's there, Shikhar Dhawan is there. Maybe Rahul Tripathi might make his debut. Who knows? But even on paper, if you have to look at the players stacked up against India, stand head and shoulders above Zimbabwe. But Zimbabwe under Dave Houghton and possibly under the captaincy of Regis Chakabwa could pull off a miracle. 2-1 is what Innocent Kaya has predicted for Zimbabwe winning against India. Whether it's innocent, whether it was bold, whether it was a dream, we will never know. But the ODI series begins in 2 days' time, 18th of August in Zimbabwe. India will be looking to continue the dominance, but Zimbabwe will be hoping to break a near 12-year jinx and a close to 25-year jinx when it comes to series and ODI wins. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to this special live. We'll be back with more updates from Sports Today. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Don't forget to download the SportsTak app, as well as check out the SportsTak website for all the latest news and analysis. Thank you. Bye-bye. Vanakkam.